The Harford County Sheriff says through DNA evidence, local police and FBI agents were able to arrest Victor Antonio Martinez-Hernandez in Tulsa, Oklahoma last night. According to officials, Martinez-Hernandez entered the U.S. illegally last year from El Salvador, where he was wanted for murder. During today's press conference, Sheriff Jeff Gaylor had this message for the White House.
Here in Harford County, we are 1,800 miles away from the southern border, and the American citizens are not safe because of failed immigration policies. This is the second time in just 2 years that an innocent Harford County woman has lost her life to a criminal in our country illegally.
Martinez-Hernandez's arrest comes nearly a year after Morin's tragic death, and tonight we're learning more about how investigators were able to track her alleged killer down, plus his alleged connections to crime spanning thousands of miles. August 5th, 2023, the death of 37-year-old Rachel Morin, a mother of 5, rocked the Harford County community. Her body discovered along the Ma and Pa Trail in Bel Air. Today,
Rachel's murderer is no longer a free man.
10 months later, police announcing the arrest of 23-year-old Victor Antonio Martinez-Hernandez, charged with first-degree rape and murder.
Hopefully, he will never have the opportunity to walk free again.
Police say the suspect is a citizen of El Salvador who illegally crossed the border in February of last year after allegedly murdering a woman there a month prior. In March 2023, police say he brutally attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother in Los Angeles. He's seen leaving the home in this surveillance video police released in August. The FBI says they were able to trace his DNA to potential family in El Salvador, even traveling to the country to help identify the suspect.
The lead we received was related to DNA evidence and allowed investigators to finally put a name to the image of the suspect in the video from Los Angeles, which we released 2 weeks after Rachel's death. After we had the video, we knew what he looked like, but we didn't know who he was.
Police and the FBI tracked him from Prince George's County, Maryland to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where he was arrested last night.
Victor Hernandez did not come here to make a better life for himself or for his family. He came here to escape the crime he committed in El Salvador. He came here and murdered Rachel, and God willing, no one else. But that should have never been allowed to happen. Here in Harford County, we are 1,800 miles away from the southern border, and the American citizens are not safe because of failed immigration policies.
Harford County Sheriff Jeff Gaylor says the suspect has known gang ties and a red notice for his arrest in El Salvador. They also believe he may have had connections to the D.C. area, which brought him close to Maryland. Whether Morin's death was a crime of opportunity or more, Gaylor says it's too soon to know.
At this point, there's nothing to indicate that anyone other than him was involved. We do have some belief that he spent some time here in the Bel Air area, so he may have seen her and her more or less routine operations.
Morin's mother,
I am so grateful that they have brought us to this place.
Emotional, keeping her remarks short, thanking police for their tireless efforts.
At one point, when things seemed like really bleak and hopeless, the lead detective said to me, "Patience will win in the end." And they've been diligently working very hard, and they've been patiently working through all the leads. And it's because of that we have an arrest today.
The suspect will be extradited back to Maryland for prosecution, and Gaylor says he hopes will never leave the state again.
I never want him to leave Maryland again. I want him to die in a Maryland jail. We don't have the death penalty, so I just hope he spends the rest of his days there.
Well, Sheriff Gaylor not mincing words, pointing out that this is the second time in 2 years a Harford County woman was killed by an illegal immigrant from El Salvador. In July 2022, police say a 17-year-old migrant who they say was an MS-13 gang member killed 20-year-old Kayla Hamilton. Fox 45 News spoke to her mother just last week about an undocumented migrant convicted of sexual assault in Baltimore County, where authorities released him despite an ICE detainer.
They've already broken the law by coming here illegally, but you're treating them like they're above American citizens. The way that everyone is treating these illegal aliens that are criminals, the way they're being treated, I am so afraid that he is going to walk away from this and be able not to be punished for his crime.
Well, when it comes to that Baltimore County case, ICE agents arrested Raul Calderon Interiano last month, days after a Baltimore County judge released the convicted sex offender. Fox 45 News pressed the county executive on the county's policies when it comes to honoring ICE detainers. Last week, he said the county came to an agreement with ICE to try to give the agency more notice before they release suspects with detainers. In Baltimore City just last month, authorities arrested an illegal immigrant wanted for manslaughter in the Dominican Republic. Because Baltimore is a sanctuary city, though, local law agencies are barred from assisting federal officials in enforcing federal immigration law. And in Howard County, last week, Fox 45 News cameras were there when ICE arrested a 36-year-old Honduran national who had already been deported twice. Charging documents say he was arrested for selling $400 worth of cocaine to an undercover cop. A Howard County law bars local law enforcement from complying with ICE, even for those convicted of crimes. Maryland's ICE director says so-called sanctuary policies like those put communities in danger.
So you're just going to let a murderer, a gangbanger, somebody who was arrested by the local police for shooting at a vehicle, and you're going to let that guy go back into his community? I can't even imagine what the average voter would really think about not cooperating, turning people over from a jail to ICE.
Well, Maryland's ICE director tells Fox 45 the agency's job is often misunderstood. He says under the Biden administration, they only arrest people charged or convicted with a crime. Data shows the Maryland ICE field office has taken in more than 100 sex offenders so far this year, the most of any ICE field office nationwide.
We're only out for the worst of the worst. So even some of the advocacy groups that used to give elected officials a really hard time about working with ICE, they've really dialed back as well, because they know what we're doing is also creating a safer place for the rest of the undocumented community. Right? That's the number one victim of crime of these, people who are here unlawfully, is the other undocumented community.